Hello, everybody. Welcome to session number 21 of Pokemon Spectrum. We are nearing the end game. We are nearing, well, I guess you could call it the point of no return. So, save now, players. Save now, because you might not be able to come back before. Or afterwards, rather. So we are now going to dive headfirst into this session. But first, of course, as always, we're going to do a warm-up question. And this question is now going to be focused more on the Pokemon, since I don't think that we've really spent a lot of time with the Pokemon within the last few sessions. That might change very soon. So I am going to ask them a question about what would, from the perspective of their Pokemon, if they were to hypothetically write in a diary or journal just before they leave for Johto, what are some of the things that they would say in their journal or diary?
So Fern will probably be messing around with like Cassie's phone on the floor. Like, ooh, what's this button do? And then she'll stop it, and then she'll play it, and it's like, oh, what does this button do? Repeats. Ah, okay. And she does it again. Okay. I know. I'll record my thoughts before we go to Johto in case Cassie needs a message to cheer her up. This is gonna be a great idea. Okay. So I'm about to go to Johto soon. It's gonna be very tricky, I think, because apparently all the Pokemon there don't like humans. Well, people just say they do. They started the war. I'm not really sure what a war is exactly, but it involves a lot of people being mean. And I don't really like that. But hopefully it'll be heaps of nice Pokemon there. Then we can just make friends and it'll be easy peasy. Hopefully it'll be easier than Team Rocket. Gotta make sure I do what people want me to do. It's gonna be very tricky, because sometimes people say that they like one thing, but turns out they actually wanted another thing. And sometimes the Pokemon said that I have to choose my free will, but I also have to like obey people at the same time. It's very stressful. Speaking of the Pokemon, you evolved. Yeah, you evolved. That was really cool. Still big and like blah, 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 blah. So you have like extra goo, so you can make like these statues and stuff. That'd be awesome. I have to ask you about that. That was really cool. And it means I'm not the only evolved one. I'm still a little nervous about my evolution. I really thought I would have more tails. But even Lex still liked me, so that's good. I haven't really talked much to Remy. We both kind of be on our own. Plus, I haven't seen Remy too much because been staying at the Benoit's place. Well, that's nice though. Ezra's really cute, although he keeps putting stuff on my head. Really sticky stuff, and it's really gross. Didn't really like that. Anyway, wait, this is a message for Cassie. I'm sorry, I got distracted. Okay, Cassie, I want you to know that I love you very, very much, and you're the bestest friend in the whole world. I'll follow you to the ends of the earth. Okay, there's the pause button again. Ah, there it is. End message.
I mean, so Bullet, you know, he would first start off by making remarks about you, because you know you is his buddy, and it was super awesome that you finally got to evolve, and he can't wait to actually like interact with him now that he's all big and tough looking. So, you know, that'll happen. But then, you know, it'll shift to Johto, and he'll admit he'll admit to himself, he's not entirely sure how he feels about it. Part of him is a little scared, mostly for the others, because he likes to think that he'll be all right. But he still, despite having learned that awesome lesson in Thetis, you know, he still got to see the dream and got to see like himself and Molly and everything that happened there. And so even with that, it's still in the back of his mind of what could have been, or what could potentially be, should something go horribly wrong. So as much as he wants to, think of this as a bright new experience, and face it with full energy and enthusiasm and all that, it doesn't help that Molly has been giving off certain vibes recently where she's clearly, more anxious than she usually is and stuff like that. I mean, I don't want to put emotions into your mouth or whatever, but I assume that Molly seems pretty anxious at this point in time. So he's hoping it'll all be okay, but time will tell.
So I think Remy, it would open up with just one short line, "I'm afraid." And then he'd go on to say, "I've never been beyond the walls since Noir pulled me into the city. It's where my father came from." And then some ellipses. It's where my mother came from. So inevitably, it was somewhere I needed to go back to maybe find myself. As for Johto, maybe they all have a point. The Pokemon, that is. Maybe they deserve to have equal rights to these humans. All the humans aren't that bad. I mean, they care for us, but sometimes I think they abuse the power that they took from us. At the end of the day, I think that there needs to be more of a balance, and I guess maybe that balance is out there. In terms of the evolving, who needs to evolve anyways? It doesn't make you a better person. It's fine to be who you are. The end.
And for Lux, it will be more... He is more worried about his brother, because his brother has recently started showing signs of setting things on fire. And that's weird. He couldn't do that before. Johto is that place that people keep threatening to send him to, and now we're going there? Okay. He has his brother. He'll have his pack around him. It'll be fine. Don't know why the humans are all so jumpy. We got this. Fern and you... Again, is a Pokemon that does not evolve, is more... interesting. Yeah, they're still them. They're not acting wildly different or that think they're better than what I am or what Remy is. And Bullet's just always been Bullet to him, so he didn't know what Bullet was like as a kid. But again, Fern is more, he's beginning to see a lot more of her insecurities, and that worries him because Fern's always been very supportive, very cheerful and loving, and that's really sad to see her starting to falter right now when we all need to be focused. And you will just hug everyone, the end.
Well, we're finally off to the bad place. Johto. I really hope we're ready for it. I'm gonna miss all of my eyelashes and costumes. I understand why we couldn't bring them, but I hope they'll all be okay and I can come back soon and I can wear them again and everything will be back to normal. It's really weird. I have this new body that I'm still getting used to, but I also have all these memories of my old life. And, I don't really like thinking about those that much. I mean, I know Richard Aspen was there and he was really nice and, I'm glad I got to see him again. Is it possible to miss someone if you don't remember them? Well, I did miss him, I guess. Seeing him again, it reminded me of what he did for me. But I don't like thinking about those things. I prefer to think of my new life with Tiffany. I hope I can keep her safe now that I'm bigger and stronger. And I hope no one hurts Tiffany. Because if they do, I'll kill them slowly. Everything will be fine.
I think Ewan needs to become an honorary Clefairy.
Yes.
He has been hanging with the Clefairies, yes. So did you guys want me to put a journal entry for Sniffles?
Sure.
I would.
We We haven't heard anything from him.
So Sniffles' voice, I don't think I can do his voice very well. But when I think Sniffles in terms of his voice, I'm thinking Pumbaa from Timon and Pumbaa. But I don't think that I think he's a lot more intelligent than Pumbaa is. So he's basically going to say, "So we're off to Johto. I gotta say, I'm pretty excited. I can imagine there's probably some really unique smells in Johto. Maybe a lot more pleasant. I mean, I love being here, don't get me wrong. But humans can be a little, stinky, putrid, even sometimes. I mean, Kyle's fine. Kyle actually smells as fresh as a garden of poke berries in a sun-dried pokeberry kind of way. I don't know. Must be that new conditioner he's using. Anyway, so I'm going over, and I gotta say, I'm actually quite excited, not only about the smells, but it should be a really good adventure. I feel like Kyle and I, we've had our share of things. He watches out for me, I watch out for him. But I think this is gonna be completely different from anything we've ever done before. Especially since I think, for once in my life, I'm gonna call the shots. And I think he's okay with that. But I think it's gonna be a great opportunity for me to really spread my trunk. So, yeah. Oh yeah, and also, I just found out that, I realize that we're going off to go find my old family. How wild is that? That, those people that Kyle's been hanging out with? Yeah, one of them actually was, the girl who got me into Team Rocket. Yes, one of them was the girl that got me into Team Rocket. I'll write about that a little bit later, but I've got words to say to that one. Although I don't think that one will understand my words, so maybe I'm gonna have to let some action speak louder than some words then. Alright, at any rate, I'm off, and that's his entry. So, before we go into Johto, I had one single request to do one last wrap-up RP with Chase. Chase, when is this taking place, this RP? Approximately how long before you guys leave for Johto?
I would say because he goes to Felicity's Diner in the evening to pick up food, it would be somewhere in those 2 weeks, near the tail end of the 2 weeks, maybe just after he's talked with Cassie at the labs.
Okay.
So when he starts to get the sense that everyone else is ready to go pack up and head to Johto, he'll knock on the door of Felicity's Diner or go in just before closing in order to say his goodbyes.
I mean, would you knock? Because, I mean, the diner's still open.
Hey, he'll knock if it's already closed. He'll knock at the back door where he picks up the food to see if she's still in. Otherwise, he'll go in.
Gotcha. Okay. We'll say sure, if you want to knock on the back, you can. And you'll knock on the back door, and the door will open, and Felicity will be the one answering the door. And before she greets you, you can immediately smell the smell of paint coming from, like, fresh paint is coming from behind her. And if you peek behind your shoulder, you'll see that there is currently a gentleman who seems to be wrapping up a paint job in the back room. That gentleman is Anthony. And Felicity will say, "Chase, babe, good to see you. To what do I owe this visit once again in my back? Are you looking for a little something again? A little bite to eat?"
A little bite to eat, and I've come to say goodbye, Felicity. For
goodbye.
The time being, maybe an extended goodbye. Not sure yet.
Are you going on a little trip?
You could say that. Just go to hotter climates, I think.
Where are you going, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm just wandering the land. Don't really have a destination plan per se. It's all about the journey, not the destination and all that, you know?
Looking for a little change of pace?
Change of pace, trying to slow down a little bit, not always be chasing ghosts.
Oh, I understand that. If I was still as young as you, I'd be doing a little bit more traveling myself. But, having some kids changes some things a little for you. So I definitely think that you should embrace this opportunity. It sounds like it's going to be a very fun time.
It's gonna be a blast. How are you feeling with your family? How you doing good, Felicity?
My girls are doing just fine. Thank you for asking, though. They've they are a little excited, out of character. I'm assuming that Fabian's going to stay with Felicity, out of character. Is that the
Yeah.
arrangement? They're a little bit excited having Fabian hang out over at the house for a little longer. I heard that Noah herself is going on a little bit of a trip too. Are you going with her?
I think we're gonna start on the same trip. We'll see where we all end up. I think we're all sort of hanging out for the first couple days.
I see. Well, you go tell her I said hello.
I'll pass on the message, and please take care of yourself and the girls and this place and your new worker.
Oh yes, yes. He's been doing a great job painting the back room.
I know I
Uh,
promised to do that. I sort of got busy with things, but I'll make it up to you if I come back.
she says, "Oh, I know. It's not a problem. Not a problem whatsoever. I figured you got yourself a little busy, and quite frankly, the back room didn't really need to get painted right away, so everything just worked out fine."
Well, it's good to hear. I'm glad that I brought him here for dinner.
Yes, he said that he was looking for some work, and I actually said, well, if he wants, he was welcome to paint the back room for a little cash, and I have to say he's got some really good handiwork.
Please use the cash I left you to pay him, just because I didn't get to do this job to make up for what I promised. Um,
That's very sweet. For you, I'll do anything, Chase baby.
so can I get something for the road? Something delicious for the road? One last
Actually,
time.
now that you mention it, I was going to offer you a little something for your trip. Now that you mention it, hold on one moment, and she's going in the back room, and she's going to come back with this cellophane bag, and wrapped in the cellophane bag, you actually see a bunch of dried poke berries. And she says, I was thinking of marketing some of these bags for people, in order for them to have non-perishable items, maybe when they're on the go. The nice thing about these poke berries is that you only need a couple to satisfy you, almost like a dietary alternative for a meal. It's good for losing weight. Although I have to say, you probably don't need it for that purpose. But if you're going on a bit of a trip and you need a quick pick me up, these should probably be very good as rations, I guess. Although that doesn't sound very appetizing when I say it that way.
They sound appetizing to me. It's something in my stomach, and it means I don't have to go foraging for berries that could kill me. So I very much appreciate this gift of yours.
Well, here you go. And she's going to give you this bag of dried poke berries, which are good for humans or Pokemon. And we'll say that there's enough in there for 30 meals, 30 individual meals. So 10 days of food, basically. for one person, unless
Mhm.
I mean 30 meals in the bag. So just
Sure.
think of it as 30 meals in the bag.
Cool. Wow. I'll let the other ones try this as well. I'm sure they'll help you spread the word when they return.
I'm gonna have to say I'm really gonna miss you.
I'm gonna miss you too. You were one of the reasons why I stayed in this city as long as I had.
I can't say that I would necessarily want to have another child to look after, but if I had a son, I would want to be just like you.
Well, I've always cared for you like a mother, so even if I've never said that.
Oh, baby, give me some sugar, she says as she walks over to you.
He hugs her
Okay.
quite tight, and he's very warm. He's very
Okay.
warm.
All right. She'll probably notice that, but just assume maybe you just came from a run or something. I don't know. Got to do something to, keep your figure. So, anything else? Okay.
With that, he'll say one last goodbye, and he'll say, excuse me, I just want to say goodbye to my new friend over there.
Oh, yes, of course. Go right ahead.
So he'll walk up to Anthony and he'll tap him on the shoulder. And he says, "Which one are you? Are you Anthony or are you Wick?"
He'll telepathically respond to you, and he'll say, I've always been Anthony, but Wick for now.
And then he'll think, so she doesn't know yet?
No, she doesn't know yet.
You think she'll ever know?
We'll see. Most likely. We'll see.
How are you settling in?
I'm all right. Keeping out of trouble, if that's what you are asking.
And do you have a place to stay?
I'm managing.
Listen, our encounter, did anything happen outside of me bringing you here for dinner?
In what way? I don't understand.
I recall bringing you into town. We talked for a little bit, and then we came for dinner. Is that about how things went?
As far as I'm concerned, that's about how things went.
Chase pulls out 1,000 $1,000, hands it over. Take care of yourself. I might not come back.
He looks at the money and he'll slowly accept it. Good luck. I know where you're going.
Maybe I'll come back. Maybe I won't. I'll be seeing more of your family. Do you want me to say anything to them?
He turns around. And he turns to you and says, "What's in the past is in the past for me. I'm walking a new path. I'm more focused on what's ahead, not what's behind."
To the future, then.
Listen. Do you want me to help you out?
With this?
There's something in there screaming to get out and hasn't been able to for a number of years. If you want, I can try to get at it. But that's up to you.
Do it.
Okay. He will go over to, he'll put down the paint roller that he had in his hand. He'll take a rag and he'll wipe his hands a bit. And he'll ask you to follow him into another room. He's going to take you over into a separate room. He'll pull out a chair. He's gonna put you down in front of you, and he'll say, He'll motion to it as if to tell you to sit.
You'll sit.
Lexon sips hoodie and goes and positions himself in shadow in case things go wrong.
Yep. He'll notice you, but he won't say anything. Anthony will sit down in front of you, and he's just gonna look right into your eyes, Chase, and he's gonna say, "Now, you sure you want me to do this? Most of the time when these things happen, it's normally for a good reason. Whatever demons you faced in the past, are you sure you want to know? Are you sure you want to unlock that box?"
I think we met for a reason. That's what Destiny's all about, right? I've always had this name that's repeated in my head. Probably one of the first names I ever thought about. Imp. I've never been able to piece that one together, but I feel like that's what's coming out.
All right.
So I'm ready for this. You speak of demons. Let's do this.
Anthony is going to place his hands at the temples of his head, and he's going to shut his eyes and he's going to start focusing. And almost immediately, you'll start feeling, not hearing, if you can feel a buzz. If you can feel a buzz, that's what you're feeling in your head right now. And the buzz is drilling into your head, but not in a painful way. Like, you feel a definite penetration in your psyche, as it seems like whatever is locked in your inner memories is Anthony is trying to open up. And you start hearing voices, familiar voices. It feels familiar, but you don't remember these voices. And there's two voices, and I'll try to differentiate the two so you know who's talking at a certain time. And the first voice goes, "So, are you with me or not?" "I don't know, Wimp. It sounds really ambitious. I feel like we're getting a little over our heads here. I have to admit, the whole thing sounds a little crazy, you know?" "Yeah, well, we all have a responsibility. It's about time we all banded together as one. If we're preparing for something, we all need to think about each other.
No more running away inside yourself. No more evading what you have to deal with.
If you can't deal with the things alone, you have to come to each other. We're no longer individuals. We can't be. Come on, man, we need you." And then the other voice says, all right, I'll do it. Let's go meet what's her name." And then you then start to see images instead of just hearing these voices, and you immediately see right in front of you a woman who looks just like the coordinator, superintendent woman from the orphanage. You see that woman. There's another shift of the vision, and you are right now in the basement of Whitestone's orphanage. And in that basement, you can see there is a Puchiaina, along with the coordinator woman, orphanage coordinator woman. There is a Bulbasaur, a Charmander, a Squirtle, and a Pikachu. They're all in this basement. In addition to that, you see a bunch of cages along the walls. And in the cages, you can see the silhouettes of different Pokemon in those cages. In the other corner of the room, there is a strange-looking device that consists of two chair-looking things, or things that are designed to have two different creatures sit on or lay on. And suddenly you hear a noise behind you, and you turn around and you see that there is a staircase, and coming down the staircase is a Jigglypuff. Behind the Jigglypuff is a man that you've seen as one of the faculty members, if you can, or one of the adults, I guess, in the orphanage, a male adult. And the man is carrying this sleeping child in his hand. The child looks like Ian, child Ian. The child is then going to be placed onto this little apparatus, and they're hooking some things up. From your perspective, because you're all seeing this from your perspective, you're going onto the other seat. So you're resting on one seat, the child is in the other seat. And the man who carried the little boy in, he's dressed in sort of like a lab coat of some sort. He starts connecting these wire things on you. And then he will flip a switch, and the machine starts to wear up. And you start to feel a very weird sensation, and everything turns bluish, a bluish hue. And everything, you know how normally you say everything blacks out? Everything blues out. So all you see is pitch blue. And then you wake up again. And you look around the room, you hold up your hands, you look to the side, there's a Mimikyu connected to this device. And you're looking around, you don't see the boy anywhere. All you see is the Mimikyu that's to your right, when just before you saw a boy to your left. And the woman, the coordinator woman, says, Imp. And you stand up and you look around, you collapse a little bit, and the man picks you up and says, it's all right, Imp, it's all right. You'll get used to the body, and you'll get used to this body soon. You are a genius, Marshall, says the woman. And the man says, thank you, Sarah. Another successful aura transference. And then the vision shifts again. And again, you are standing in a file with a bunch of other children. And the woman is at the front. This is another part of the orphanage, and she's speaking to the crowd of children. And she's pacing back and forth and says, you have all been selected, handpicked by Professor Jaboko to serve as spies for Team Omni. You will be adopted by families from all around the world, living amongst them, gaining their trust. Each of you will give periodic status reports. That is one of your objectives. Your second objective is to seek out information on the location of the plates. We are strategically placing you in families that are in close proximity to the last known location of the plates, ones attuned to your very own types. This should draw you to them. Although you are in human shells, your auras, your soul, the part that makes you who you are, will eventually permeate through your own physical bodies. According to Professor Artson, this will eventually allow you to tap into your original innate abilities, just like it did for us. No one must know who you really are. No one must know about Team Omni. not until all of us have taken our rightful place in the world once again. Omnibus in unum. And all of the children, including yourself, Iam, says omnibus in unum. Again, the visions shift. You are back in the basement, Iam, imp, whatever you want to call yourself. And you recognize this scene because this is the scene where you had just released the Mimikyu. The same Mimikyu that was connected to the device. The exact same one. And it is at this point that the coordinator woman has arrived along with Jet Black. If you remember, Jet Black came down with her and some of the other kids. And the woman is closing in on you and is using, you can recognize, some sort of psychic ability to get it to your brain, to get into your head. And that's when the visions end. Anthony will break out of the out of his trance, and he will speak to you verbally this time, not mentally. You okay?
I'm not sure yet. How much of that did you see? All of it?
I had to.
Do you think I'm okay?
If I'm interpreting what I saw, it sort of explains a lot of things. The way you think. You don't think like a normal human being. It's because within your core you're not a human being. You're a Pokemon, Iam. Or at least you were.
He looks intently at Anthony, and he asks,
That explains a lot. You've seen a Mimikyu, ones that are said to kill or turn someone mad on sight. The only reason why you were able to see a Mimikyu in its true form is because you yourself are a Mimikyu. You yourself are immune to the insanity or the death stare of another Mimikyu.
am I a good person?
Are you a person? Is what you should be asking yourself. Start with that, I think.
I'll take that on my next journey. Thanks for doing that, Anthony. Wick?
I don't think I'm done, he says, as he looks over at Lux next to you.
No, Lux has gone into shadows, so he is behind Anthony.
Oh, well, he's
Sorry.
going to turn to your direction. He's going to turn in your
Okay.
direction. You have something locked away, too.
Confused
Yes,
look.
you.
Looks to Ian.
I have a feeling that you have a little bit of a piece to this as well.
Ken glances to Ian, comes out of shadows, gets up onto table, sits in front of Anthony, nods.
He'll look over at Chase as if to ask for permission.
And Chase
Looks
will look
annoyed.
Chase will look at Lux. It's up to you. Lux seems okay with it. What's the other half?
Here goes. Anthony will do the same thing. Lux, once again, you're going to have a very similar sensation as Chase did. To start off, everything is very, very dark and muffled. You can hear voices, muffled voices. And you you feel a lot of physical straining on your part, and everything feels new to you. And all of a sudden, there is a bright light, blinding light, which, for you, of course, I'm sure is uncomfortable. But you also hear crying. You hear yourself crying as you are being handed over to this really pretty, relatively pretty looking woman, and you're crying, and there's doctors and nurses all over the place. And this baby, you are being handed to this human woman, and she's sort of cradling you, and she's sort of like whispering to you, and she looks very, very happy to see you for the first time. And this human woman says, "It's all right, William. It's all right." And that's the first vision. Next vision. You are in a cage. And right next to you is a Pucci hyena that is in the cage. Pucci hyena with jet black fur. And the Pucci hyena seems to be whimpering a little bit. And is looking around the bars, looking for a way out. Can't find a way out. That's when this boy comes down the stairs. And the boy goes up to your cage, unlocks it, lets you out, and you make your way out. But you don't go very far. You scamper off, but you don't go very far. You decide that, you know what? Something tells me I should come back. So you turn around, and you go back, and at that point, you see that there are a whole bunch of other people in this basement, including the boy who saved you, plus some woman who seems to be doing something psychically to this boy, and a whole crowd of other kids. You decide, well, I have to do something. So you go into this basement, you look around, and you see it. There is a toolbox that's open, and there's this big, giant wooden hammer. And you're like, yes, that's what I need. So you go over there, and you run up, and you grab this big wooden hammer. And then you go over to this kid with jet black hair. And then you take, everybody's focusing on this other boy, so they're not paying attention. So you go over this kid with jet black hair, and you take a swing, and then pop, as hard as you can. This kid with jet black hair is thrown backwards, and he actually lands into the machine. And the machine actually has the Pucci hyena, a Pucci hyena in the other chair. So the Pucci hyena was in the cage. For whatever reason, you don't know the context of it. You have no idea. The Pucci hyena is now sitting in the chair, one chair of the device. And you just hit this jet black kid into the chair on the other device. The device starts to turn on. Something's happening between the Pucci hyena and this jet black boy. Then the woman notices you, and she stops focusing on the boy. By this point, the boy has gone unconscious. The woman goes over to you, and she starts to use some of her psychic powers on you, and you try to dodge out of the way, and you're running around. Everybody's trying to catch you, and then you see this big. You manage to hide. I think they're looking for you. But in the basement, you find this big giant boiler. And things start running through your head, and you actually take your hammer and you start pounding on this boiler. And boiler's starting to steam, you see cracks on it, and then eventually, because of all the noise, obviously, they find you, and you can start sensing your mind starting to get away from you again, as the woman is trying to again desperately warp your head in some way. But just before she finishes, you take one more swing with this hammer, and then you hear this big explosion, and everything starts to get all fuzzy. And you feel yourself being thrown back. A little bit of time passes by. You're not sure how much time passes by. Your vision starts to grow clear again. And you feel like you're under some rubble or some sort. There's flames around. You can feel the heat. And you are able to see two figures. You see a boy, the boy who rescued you, and another boy, a boy with jet black hair. The boy who rescued you is actually dragging the boy with jet black hair out of the building, out of the fire. And that's the end of your vision. You don't know where the Pucci hyena went. You don't know where the other people went. The only people you saw at the very end was the boy who rescued you and the boy with jet black hair being pulled out of the fire.
Chase asks, "Are you okay?"
Do you want to see what I saw?
Can I?
He'll share the whole vision with you.
So all the 12, they're all like this? None of us are people?
I think the implication is whoever that kid with jet black hair was able to get back into his original body. At least that's how I interpret it.
Wish she didn't finish. Well, that's
That
good.
machine does what it's supposed to do. I think that Pucci hyena switched bodies with that boy, and it switched back.
Well, that's good. All right. Well, this is a lot to take in.
This Team Omni, what exactly do they want? I wasn't exactly sure what to make of that. I've never heard of a team of Pokemon.
I think they learned from their masters, trainers. It's what you do, right? You form teams if you want to take over the world.
A team of humans are dangerous. A team of Pokemon, though, that makes me nervous. No one would ever suspect a team of Pokemon.
No, they wouldn't, except Johto, perhaps, huh?
Perhaps.
I think we still got some plates to find. Hopefully it won't be for the team. Never been a real team player anyways.
Do you know whatever happened to those kids?
They're out there. They're out there finding these plates that make them more powerful. All are one.
So this entire time, they've been spying, is what you're saying.
For over a decade. They're all acting on something now. I'm thinking some of these adults are still around, guiding them somewhere. I'll find them. Is there any way to make people go back to who they're supposed to be?
I don't know. Do you think I'm back where I'm supposed to be?
So just go forward.
I had a little help, admittedly. Sometimes you can't be where you're supposed to be on your own. Sometimes a crazy person has to strap you to a chair and ask him to complete a bird with a knife in order for you to find where you should be.
Chase touches his chest. Looks around him. I didn't just bring you to dinner, did I?
No, I guess not.
Well, thanks again, Anthony. I'm not sure how else to thank you beyond words.
You've done enough.
Take care of Felicity. She's a good person. She'll take care of you. Maybe we'll see each other again.
Good luck, imp. And then he turns to Lux. Good luck, William.
And Chase will open his hoodie.
Lux goes and scampers in, zips himself up.
And Chase reaches out his hand for a shake.
He'll accept it and shake. Firm shake.
Chase turns around and leaves.
Okay. Thank you, Shay, because I had absolutely no idea how I was going to introduce all of that to you, but coming to see Felicity first was the perfect excuse. So.
Worked out great.
We'll see what Chase does with all that information. I don't know what Lux is going to do with all that information, but... All right. So, you guys have reached the point now where you are going to Johto. And for all of you watching, I wanted to mention that there were a bunch of other things happening behind the scenes, leading up to Johto. During our last vlog, several of the players mentioned other loose ends, other things that their characters did before leaving for Johto. So if you want to grab that bit of story, I highly, highly recommend that you check out the last vlog at least and see what are some of the things that our characters have been doing behind the scenes. So, cool. All right. You guys are now going to take a trip with Kyle, and he once again will have a set of Staravias ready to take you to Johto, and Kyle is the only other person that you're taking with you, plus Sniffles, of course, correct? That is correct?
Was Caroline coming?
Caroline is the person that he is meeting at the wall.
Okay.
So you will fly over to the edge of Kanto, where you can definitely see this massive wall. I don't know how many of you have actually seen the wall in person, but you certainly have seen, you know, it on TV at least. And there are rangers, Pokemon rangers all over the place. When you guys land, this girl will approach you, a girl with a robotic prosthetic arm. And she will give the group a smile and say, "Hey, Kyle. So, this is the group?" And Kyle will nod. "Carolyn, I'd like you to meet," and he'll sound off everybody's names. And he'll say, "This is Carolyn Adelphin. She is one of the Pokemon Rangers here. Pleased to meet all of you. Well, we've got all of your papers in order. I'm going to have to say that some of what we're about to do is a little bit unorthodox, but you've all been given permission, so feel lucky, I guess, if you consider this to be lucky that you're going to be beyond the walls. I'm here to answer a few questions and brief you all on what's been going on. Now, the unfortunate thing Carolyn says is that what little reconnaissance we have about Johto, we don't have much to go by. The Pokemon there have put in a lot of time and effort in order to make sure that we can't monitor them in any way. Many of our radios or cameras or any attempts to try to get some sort of devices at all into them are being blocked by Porygons and other things of that nature. In addition to flying Pokemon patrolling the edge of the wall at all times, making sure that we're not doing anything we shouldn't be doing. However, we have been working on a little bit of a project. We've been building a tunnel that takes us directly from here all the way to Goldenrod City. This tunnel has not officially been used yet. We were going to start sending Pokemon spies to try to gather information on what's going on over at Johto, what the conditions are like at Johto. But we have not been given the green light to let anyone use this tunnel until now. My job is to escort you all through the tunnel until we reach the entrance to get into Goldenrod City. From that point on, you are on your own. We can give you communication devices, but I have a feeling that that is a ticket to you all getting caught almost immediately. I don't think there is necessarily a way that we can actually give you any walkie-talkies or any other devices that they won't be able to catch. My suggestion, once you get over to Goldenrod City, we're actually going to be entering through the sewer system. My suggestion is that you send in your Pokemon first to get an idea of what things are like in there, and then they can determine what is best for all of you.
Yeah, best to stay under the radar, I think. Well, guys, you think we should send our pokes in first?
They have the best chance of success. The computer proved they can work as a team.
I'm still a little hesitant about the tunnel. Are you sure that they are not aware of it? Because I'd hate to get halfway through and then have one of them catch on and cause an earthquake.
Yeah, buried alive, not something I'm willing to do today.
Our engineers have been extremely careful to try to do this as discreetly as possible. I can't promise you anything, but we can't just sit here and twiddle our thumbs. We needed to get some information on Johto, and this is the best plan that we've had so far.
All right.
All right. Thank you for your assistance.
Of course. So Carolyn will escort you through the tunnels, and these tunnels you can still see like various areas that hint at construction. So yeah, this is something that's relatively new, and during your traveling, if anyone wants to talk to anyone else, they're welcome to talk to each other, and that goes for both the humans and the Pokemon.
How big are these
Sniffles
tunnels?
Sniffles will be out and about as well. How big are the tunnels? I mean, think of it. I would not say that they're as large as subway tunnels. I would say that they are large enough. Think Underground Railroad. You know, just enough to let humans through, because they're not making these nice and pretty for public use.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So I would say that, I mean, they're roughly a story tall. Roughly a story tall. And in terms of width, I mean, we'll say 2 squares wide, 2 or 3. We'll say 3 squares. 3 squares wide in width. 3 squares.
Okay, cool.
I do want to say that before going in, Molly will turn around and take one last look at Kanto, but she won't say anything. She'll just turn and walk into the tunnel. Where is Chase walking?
At the end.
Like, just
last in the row to protect the rear. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Molly will kind of slow down a little bit so that she's walking next to him, and she'll look up at him and she'll say, "Well, this is it."
No turning back.
Yeah. And could Molly maybe roll her perception to see if she notices anything different about Chase's demeanor?
Yeah. Or an insight.
17 plus, and I have a +1 from last session, so 18.
Realistically, Chase, would there have any indication visually that anything's different about Chase?
If anything, he's probably slightly more reserved. He has been on a trajectory of trying to not be I was going to say invasive into what's going on with the group. So more reserved.
So you'll notice that.
Okay.
What he just said.
Okay. Yeah, so Molly...
He's good at acting at this point, so...
Yeah. So Molly will just fall into step next to him, and she'll glance over at him and she'll say, "Did something happen, Ian?"
That's a strange question. Something is always happening.
Fair enough. You know, Madame Vu said that you're gonna find all of your answers soon.
Would you think that those answers are going to come from Johto? Or do you think that I've already found them?
I gotta admit, I'm curious, Ian. Did you find something out?
They used to call me Imp.
Imp.
Just another name, right?
Yeah, it's another name. I highly doubt that another name is all that Madame Vu was referring to, though.
I think there are things changing within me. I'm not quite in sync with it yet. But going to that other world, I think it started to reveal some stuff that I thought were just, I don't know, half dreams or something. Making the sun shine in a cave. I don't think that's real. How can that be real?
Do you have anything that you think is real?
Anything I can see, I suppose, that's at this very moment. Anything that's happened in the past, I don't know. I'm still trying to resolve what I'm willing to accept as real. I think Lux is real.
Molly will look at Lux and she'll kind of smile at him a little bit. And she looks back at Ian and she reaches into her bag and she pulls out a piece of paper and she hands it over to Ian if he'll accept it.
He'll take it.
When he opens up the paper, there will be a picture, a childlike drawing, almost like it was drawn in sand, of a man with wings and a flaming sword and facing a dragon, but instead of a Sylveon next to him, there is a Mimikyu, just as a Duskull next to him.
Did you draw this?
Yeah, I did. We drew this.
You're changing the past. That will change the future. Was it always meant to be Lux?
I don't know, Ian. But you have your flaming sword. You have your wings, not from your back, but they're on your chest. And you have a fairy next to you. It's not a Sylveon, but it's an Mimikyu.
So it's all interpretation.
Maybe.
Do you think destiny is real?
I don't know. I guess I will say that it's harder for me to believe in just coincidences with this group. Maybe we were all meant to meet each other.
Maybe we're all meant to... And he stops himself as he starts to say a word that starts with D. We were all meant to get to the end together.
We all have our roles to play, right?
All actors on the stage, yep.
Molly will roll up her sleeve, and she'll show him the very faint scar of the cut that she gave herself. You know, Ian, me asking you to cut me, it wasn't just about getting over my fear of blood. It was to figure out what your role would be in this whole thing.
It was a complicated thing you asked me to do. There were 3 different paths. I had to choose one.
Do you feel like telling me the other 2 paths?
I could have cut you myself.
Mm-hmm.
But then you wouldn't have learned anything about your own strengths, your own willingness to confront something you fear.
Mm-hmm.
I could have... told you to cut me. But then I'd just be giving you a way out. I can't take everyone's pain. I think everyone has to carry the burden of their own. And there was a third choice that I just wouldn't let you go. I chose not to let you go. So that you could be responsible for your own actions.
I admit, I was a little bit disappointed. Because you did something that you said you wouldn't do. If I recall correctly, your words to me were, just tell me what you need me to do and I will do it, without hesitation. And you hesitated when I said I needed you to cut me.
I did.
But now I know. I thought your role would be to hold the knife. But now I know your role is to hold my hand while I hold the knife. I trust you to hold my hand, Ian.
I promise to not waver. Not again.
Thank you, Ian. And Molly will actually turn to Lux and she'll say, Lux, Ian's your brother, right? I think of him as my.
Chase probably does show a little bit of a lack of comfort there at that line.
More ways than you know.
Lux pats his chest. It's okay. You got this.
Keep him safe, all right? And she looks back at Chase again and she says, I know what it's like to need a brother. But I hope you know that there are humans here who need you too.
Sometimes I don't feel like I belong with... He was about to say the humans. But he just says, with the team.
Lux nuzzles into you at that.
You know, I know the others don't trust you. I admit I don't always understand you. But you saved me. And I've never forgotten that. When I say I trust you, I don't say it lightly.
I just want to find some meaning. So having people understand that the actions I take are always just to save. I just want to save people. Maybe in saving people, I can save myself. It's becoming clear to me what that means.
All right. Just a little bit farther.
One step at a time.
Molly nods, and with that, she'll be finished.
Chase will just call back real quick and say, you belong at the front. Not back here. You're not a follower.
And she nods at that, and she'll start walking a little faster until she's right up at the front.
I'm going to say that Sniffles, who's out of his ball, is going to walk to the group and to the other Pokemon of the group, and he's going to ask, "So, what do you guys think we're going to find over at Johto?"
Well, they say it's a very scary place.
Do you think it's going to be scary?
Well, Tiffany showed me some videos about it. It seems pretty scary.
What do these videos show? I thought that we didn't get any. We really have no clue what's going on behind those walls.
I think it's from when everything first went down.
He'll turn to Fern or Lux or Remy, if any of them responds to his question.
Remy's probably staying close to Noir at this point and staying relatively quiet, all considering.
And out of character, while the Pokemon are having this conversation, Chase, you realize you can understand every word they're saying now. Because whatever was locked in your memory about the Pokemon language back in the day has been unlocked. And you now can understand the Pokemon language. But you don't necessarily have to say anything, but you can realize that you actually understand what the Pokemon are saying amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, continue your conversation if you'd like, if any of the Pokemon respond. I think at this point he'll turn to Fern. How about you? What do you think, Toots?
I just hope they're not mean like Butch. And they don't attack us like that Baratic once did. Yeah, that's when everyone to get along.
And you? He asks Lux.
I'll see.
When at that point, all of the Pokemon tilt their head when Lux says that, because I don't think Lux did this on purpose, but Lux, you just spoke in human. And all of the trainers just heard Lux say, "Huh? We'll see." They heard Lux speak in human.